What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I'm your host, I'm Caitlin Kenneth Smith, and today we have a whole room full of people who have been here before. So we have Sam Norman, we have Dara Flores, and we have Brooke Wiitanen, which I think I said that right this time, but if I didn't, she'll correct. Damn it! Every time I have Brooke on the podcast, that is literally the intro. It's just me fucking up her name. But we're bringing everybody together really just to talk about everything, like just kind of to have a conversation and see kind of where this goes. And I think that it's going to be super valuable because each and every one of us is on a journey, but on a different journey in different areas of our life. Like two of us don't have kids, the other two of us do have kids, and we've all been through, I think all of us have had quite a 2024 when it comes to just shit. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like 2025. Where are you at? I need you now.
Let's go.
But yes. Let's go around the room and give like a brief intro, like an elevator pitch of yourself, or like how I like to word it. If, you were in an Uber and the Uber driver turned around and was like, "Who are you?" What would you say to that person? So let's start with, we'll start in alphabetical order. So Brooke, you are up.
All right. So I'm a mom of two. That's my main role these days. We just moved back to Ohio from Arizona. We lived there for like 9 years. So we're back closer to family. I've been personal training and doing the online nutrition coaching for almost 6 years now. So that is, my full-time job, which is nice. It gives me flexibility and I'm able to be at home with my kids. So, and I like to do CrossFit.
Yeah, that was what I was going to add on to is like, not only are you a parent of two, but like every time I see you on your story and you're doing CrossFit and your daughter's like in the video, that's fucking awesome. And I love it so much.
Yeah.
Now both daughters.
Yeah.
I know. They better go to the games since I can't. Like, yeah, it's them.
It's like living vicariously through them in a sense, right?
Definitely, yes.
Nice. Okay. Dara, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Dara. I've been doing nutrition coaching for a couple years now. I can't remember when it exactly started. It feels like forever. But yeah, I am a mom of two as well. Two puppies, two fur babies. I wish it was three, but I'm only allowed two right now. But yeah, so I live in Colorado Springs, and it's great out here. I love to get outside, and even when it's snowing, just get outside and do challenging things like climb mountains or go snowboarding or whatever. I haven't always lived in Colorado. I've kind of moved around. I used to be what you would call like a gypsy soul. Been to multiple states. And I'm currently managing a supplement store here in Colorado Springs that brings me a lot of joy helping people. And yeah, I do my workouts basically in my garage or at the gym. So depending on what the day brings. So
yeah, no, I think it's super cool that you're working in the supplement store now because I think that that's such a cool space. Like I don't know about you guys, but I'm like so obsessed with like all of the different ingredients and supplements and stuff. And I always go to Dara to like talk about stuff like that. Dara, is this good? Does this blend work together? Yeah, that's good. Focus. Yes. Awesome. Yes. But yeah, no. And I think we'll talk more about it, but like Dara, you're in a season of life where you're truly like growing really hardcore. And it like, if you follow Dara on social media, you probably already know, like she's going through a lot as far as like what she's pursuing with her physical self, but also emotional self. But we'll get into that. And then I'm going to skip myself because I'm pretty sure the podcast knows me. However, I guess I'll just give a brief. I host this podcast. I own a business called the Powerhouse Mentality, where we are providing fuel and gear for the mentally tough, which is growing. And I'm investing my entire life and risking all of the biscuits for it. I'm also training to become a professional CrossFit athlete, which I officially announced on Instagram that I've been pursuing it for a while, but officially all in because now Eric is my coach, not just for programming, but for nutrition, which scares the shit out of me. However, that's exactly why we're doing it.
Nice.
And I have a husband. He is currently in Brazil. I can't tell you what he's doing, but he's doing really kind of cool stuff, but he doesn't want to be doing it. So, it is what it is. And I have two dogs. I had a cat, but he was an outdoor cat. He hasn't been home in like a month. So we're gonna say that he ditched. So that's me. And Sam, where are you at?
So obviously my name is Sam. I feel like that's always the way that I have to start.
My name is Sam.
Like you guys know my name, but for those that don't, so I was a fitness and nutrition coach for 9 years. I started when I was 21 and then always did kind of like design and logo and creative things on the back end. But fitness was my like life and career for a very long time. And then kind of got the opportunity to switch over again, like things that we've talked about, I think, on the podcast, like going through like personal things where I was just like not the coach that I should have been. So I got to switch over to more creative things, which has been kind of my focus for the last year and a half, which is pretty cool getting to do all of that again. And I have two kids, and if you can probably hear one of my dogs at the door whining right now because I have three dogs and then a cat and then the two kids, in our house. So that's pretty much like that's what I do is I still like work out and then I do like creative things like video editing and logos and all like the creative things and then come home, stay home.
Yeah, Sam created the logo for the Powerhouse Mentality. It is so fucking cool too. And if you're watching this, Brooke is wearing it. Yeah. I love that.
I'm still working. I'm working on the other one. I just have not gotten to finish that.
That's okay. I like said it to you and I'm like, I will let her take as much time as possible. I do not need it immediately.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, she's going to create a minimalist logo so that way I don't have to spell out the Powerhouse Mentality on those things, like on clothing. Sometimes it can get annoying designing clothing and being like, the Powerhouse Mentality, this needs to fit like right there, but it's so big. That's absolutely
I'm gonna let my dog out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, do it. Now, as far as things go, what'd you say?
pH balance.
pH balance?
Yeah, Powerhouse. pH.
Oh, shit. Writing this down in my head. Right? We're going to just come up with a ton of different ideas and people are going to steal them all from this podcast. Who's ever listening. But as far as things go, really what I wanted to ask you guys is what are you all currently pursuing when it comes to your fitness goals? Because I think that a lot of people who listen to this podcast, are probably pursuing some sort of a fitness goal. And I think that we've all been in different areas of our life and like whether it be an injury or a setback or something, maybe we've been pushed into a different direction. Like, and I'll start with Dara so that way I don't put Brooke on the spot immediately again. Because we kind of already alluded to the fact that you're doing 75 hard. So Dara, where are you at on your fitness journey right now? Kind of what have you been through over the past year? Because I know it's been, like I said, I started off with 2024. It's been a hell of a year for all of us. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So coming into 2024, I was feeling really good, really strong. Foundation was built through the years before. And then I was unexpectedly presented an obstacle and I hurt my back doing my PR in a deadlift. And it was pretty immediate feeling of holy shit. This is very new. I don't really know what to do after this. So kind of in that day, I literally, it hurt to stand, it hurt to sit, it hurt to lay down. So life was pretty miserable for a little while. I couldn't even pick up my laundry basket. So I tried to stay away from doing a lot of chores around the house, just couldn't really be mobile. It was tough. It was tough because for one, a perspective I've kind of recently adopted was I've never experienced it before. So it was like new. And when we're new to something, it's like, what do I do? Like, and you kind of beat yourself up of like what I'm not doing or what you think you should be doing. But when it's new, you have to navigate it a little bit, got to ask more questions and kind of just understand this is the season I am in. And what can I do to just help me get through and be resilient through it and persevere and use it for something. So
did you ever find out what the back injury was? Because I know you were hurting quite a bit and we were working through stuff for a little bit. What have you ever diagnosis or did you see a PT or anything?
Yeah, so I'm pretty terrible about going to doctors, which I don't prefer. But I talked to my
Same.
chiropractor and a couple of people. Basically, I think it was just a stabilization issue. So it kind of just was kind of building up, which created some lower disc like pains, spinal stuff. So I did some dry needling directly into my lower back area, which relieved the pain. So I knew those were the things that were kind of firing off. So I kind of just stepped back from those big compound lifts and just kind of worked on core and stability and just getting my strength back, kind of rebuilding my body in a different approach. Because I love deadlifts, I love back squats, like I love all the big power moves. But my body was telling me that we need to work on some other things. So I think that's kind of how I took it. And yeah, so I haven't deadlifted since February until very recently. I did a sumo deadlift, very lightweight. And I was like, wow, I just got like butterflies and kind of buzzed off of it that I'm actually like lifting a bar again.
Yeah.
I just felt really empowering to know where I started in this process to now and understanding that I can recreate and come back a little bit stronger to build that structure.
I think that's such a powerful story too, because like a lot of people won't take that and like use it as a pivot. They would take that and use it as like, I'm done, you know? But you use it like, my body's telling me like I need to do other things instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to just stop working out altogether, which I think is what happens to a lot of people when they do have a back injury. They get so scared to like do anything that they move less and they don't work out. And then that usually makes things way worse in the end.
Yeah.
And they also, sorry, I was just going to say they kind of use it as like an excuse. Like that's their way to get out of working out and stuff, and their excuse to like why they went backwards kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know I've totally used it a little bit where like I know double unders kind of hurt my back and I hate double unders. So like Ferric programs double unders, I got to the point where I was like, oh, they kind of hurt my back. And he'd be like, but you can deadlift? And I'm like, maybe I should just do the double under.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't all this linear progression. For me, it was that dealing with the mental aspect of it of like I can't move the way I want to. So I did have that lull for a while of like struggling mentally to move just because I couldn't do those things, and really having to like work through that challenge of the mental part of it, because that was really probably the hardest part. I'm a very physically active person, so the fact that I couldn't do these things, I felt like I almost lost my identity, which was what I had to recreate without doing the things that I more or less put as like my main focuses. So it was hard. Like it wasn't easy. And looking back, I understand where, I could say I could have done this differently, but I think going through it, having that experience gives me the ability to help someone else through that similar process, especially as a coach, understanding like what they might be going through and kind of where I was in that situation and how I kind of went out of it. So it was very helpful now looking back. In the moment, it sucks.
I mean, I think like personally, like, I mean, I've been through a whole shit with my back and it's like currently aching, but like, I think the mental aspect is the hardest part because you just are like, what do I do? And like, you're almost like Googling things, like all your symptoms, like, is it this or is it this? And you're like driving yourself mad. But at the end of the day, it's like, you almost have to just trust your body's ability to heal and listen to it. And I know, Brooke, you can definitely relate to that too, because you had a pretty major shoulder injury not too long ago, correct?
Yeah, the original injury was 2 years ago now, and I have a torn labrum, so it's never gonna fully be
Unless you
the
get
same.
surgery.
Yeah, but obviously things were on the back burner for the last year, but I am getting back into PT, so hopefully I can go a little heavier overhead. I don't think I'll ever snatch again, but that's okay.
And Sam, you can definitely relate. I know you have a heart defect.
Yeah, that was a huge shift for me last year because Eric at the time was also programming for me. And I was able to follow it. I just had to take like a little bit longer breaks, and then I was getting super frustrated. I think it was like multidimensional. Like there was so much happening in my personal life that like when I got to the gym, I was like, I don't want to have to look at this AMRAP and like completely destroy myself physically and then go home and then destroy myself mentally because there's all these things stacking up.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a step back and just started working more on strength and did Metcons like 1 to 3 times a week, if that, which helped a lot mentally. But then, so what I have is called VSD. It's a small hole in one of my ventricles. And what happens is if my heart rate gets really high, I can manage it. However, the higher it gets for the longer it gets, it starts to hurt. It feels like an elephant is sitting on my chest, and then it starts to squeeze. It feels like a heart attack. It's not. It's somewhere between like a heart attack and a panic attack. If you've like ever experienced that, it's like it crushes your entire chest, and then you can't breathe, which is really scary.
Yeah, especially
and also really painful.
When your heart rate's
Yeah.
already elevated, and if you're doing an Eric workout, I'm pretty sure like sometimes I feel like I'm having a heart defect when I do an Eric workout.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't
Right.
even imagine being in that position and doing it.
Yeah, so it was at that point, because I was doing them so consistently, I was able to manage it really well.
Yeah.
Because if I continue to push it and if if it starts to get to that point, I just have to take a step back and sit or like walk and rest for an extra like 30 seconds or, a minute, and then I'm okay and I can come back in and kind of ease back into it. But because I took so much time off for myself mentally, that like when I went down to Florida and we did that High Rocks workout, which I loved, like that was amazing. But it happened and I'm in this room with like 30 people and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die in front of all of these people. And not like, oh, this is so hard, I'm gonna die. Like,
Yeah,
no,
like,
literally,
actually
my
die.
chest is being crushed and I cannot breathe. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I just need to step away, and it was like not okay.
Mm.
And I was pissed. Which like is probably not like the normal response, but like that's what happened. Like that, I was around all of these people and like I know what I am capable of,
Right.
and I let it slip. And like there was good reason to do that. Like, because I think if I would have continued to do those workouts while everything was happening personally, like I would have burnt out. But like nonetheless, I was really mad because I know what I'm capable of, and I couldn't do that to the best of my ability. So I decided that I was like going to get back into that, but I was not ready to go back into those really functional like CrossFit workouts yet. So I started to run again so that I could build it up slowly. And it's been different because like I was never like a great runner, but like doing those tempo runs and like leaning into like distance over pace and then being able like, okay, now I've got the distance, now I can go faster, has been like my heart has never been in better shape, I don't think. And like while I miss doing like the CrossFit workouts and I'm adding them in again slowly, like I feel fucking fantastic.
That's so great too. Let me tell you, and maybe everybody's noticed this, but why the hell is every fitness influencer now a runner? Every single one of them is like all of these like bodybuilding fitness influencers that we've known for so long on social media. It started with Nick Bare, right? Nick Bare started running, and then everybody started running, and now like Brooke's running, and then like big names like Christian Guzman, I saw he's running now. I'm like, okay, now everybody's just fucking running. Dara, are you running?
I'm not running.
Dara's like, I'm not fucking running.
I only am because right now it's all I got.
Yeah.
I think I love running because it doesn't clear your head. I think it provides mental clarity. Like if you're working through shit, it kind of like gives you clarity on the shit that you're working through that we all need help with.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like I know everybody has started running, but for me, like whenever I've noticed somebody starting to pick up running a lot, it's because like they're going through too much shit. Like, which for me was true.
That's literally how I got into running. It was
like I just need to move my body and not think about anything. Like if I can put one foot in front of the other and just move a little bit faster, like everything is fine. And then it turns into something that you just like to do. Like I never thought that I'd be like, fuck yeah, I get to run today. But like, I'm like, fuck yeah, I get to run today.
It's also one of those things that you can really appreciate because you know how many people can't fucking run?
Yeah.
Whether they're
Yeah,
just like
true.
too overweight, they're too weak, they're too incapable, they're too out of shape, or they just physically can't walk or something. You know, so I think it's like such a simple thing that we all can do. Now, the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people injure themselves when they start running because they start doing too much too quickly, or they have absolutely terrible running mechanics because they've never done any sort of strength training, so they have no idea what they're doing. But it's such an incredible thing. And I think for a long time in the fitness industry, it was like talked down on, like, you're going to run all your gains away. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, unless you're like a marathon runner who's doing like hundreds of miles a week, you'll be okay, you know?
Yeah.
But Brooke, or not Brooke, Dara, why did you start 75 hard? Because that's where we were going. But why did you?
Oh,
Right? Because I think that everybody starts. I mean, has everybody in this room done 75 hard? Sam, have you done it? Everybody's done 75 hard. I've done it like, I can't even
Yep.
remember how many times. Brooke, how many times have you done it?
4
Yeah.
times.
I think I've done it 4 or 5 times. Sam, how many times have you done it?
I completed it once, and then my second go around, I got pregnant with 2 lips.
So
And I
yeah,
haven't
that's a
done
good that's a good reason to stop.
Get out.
I tried so hard to like keep going and like I'm gonna do 75 hard pregnant, and absolutely not.
Mm.
No, that was
I
fucking
know.
awful.
Yeah, I've never been pregnant, but I've seen enough pregnant people to be like, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Heard enough complaints.
Yeah, I was on like day like 47 and I found out I was pregnant and I was like, I can keep going. No, I can't.
Nah,
No.
nope. My husband's done 75 hard once, but he's attempted it maybe 100 times since then.
Yeah.
He'll do like 2 days, and I'm like, why don't we just start with one workout a day instead of like trying to like go all in and like burn out, which is what happens to most people. But why did you start it this time around, Dara? Because I know you've done it in the past, and I think that it's so cool to. There's always a reason why somebody starts it. I feel like you have like that enough's enough moment. You want to get something together.
Yeah, it was honestly when I started my new position, because I was working from home for years, and it seemed pretty easy to manage 75 hard with my schedule. I kind of had it pretty much like, it's fine, not a big deal. I get off at 2 every day. I can do my morning workout, can do afternoon, whatever happens, I can get it done. Not a big deal. When I started my new job, my hours are just like, I work 4 days a week, but my hours are all day. Little bit of time in the morning to get something done, and then I'm coming home late. For me, I'm an old lady compared to y'all.
I'm like, I probably stay up the latest out of all of you people.
It's true.
I can bet
I'm
that.
definitely grandma status when it comes to bedtime.
If Dara messages me after 9 p.m., I'm worried for her.
You're like, are you okay?
Dara, you should be in bed.
There was a lot of times this year that you did receive those from me because my schedule is just completely different. But we close the shop at 8, so by the time I get home, it's 8:30. I'm trying to go to bed, and so like it didn't really compute that I would ever want to attempt 75 hard with the schedule I had, knowing that sleep was so important to me, and kind of like, so I just didn't really think of like I was gonna not ever, but I wasn't gonna do it again right now. And it came to a time where I'm dealing with a lot of other stressors in my life that kind of compounded, starting with the back injury and starting with my mental health, and just kind of like really just not having a lot of control surrounding me. And so I was trying to like work within, and I go to therapy and just all these things to help manage all of that. And when, I don't know who brought it up, I think Kevin was doing 75 hard. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to, I feel like I'm in a good mental space to create a plan to actually do this. And I think it will actually give me a higher standard than I'm allowing it to be right now. Like I'm giving the excuse of like my time. Well, I got to sleep and I can't do that. I'm focusing on all the things that I don't have control of. And so I was like, you know what, I really can do this. Like, and I feel like I'm in a space to be creative and to allow myself to level up from where I was, because I kind of in reality, I kind of dropped the bar a little through my injury just because mentally I wasn't all there. I wasn't getting the outputs that I was getting before. So it was really hard to come back from that. And that's what I wanted to create from that, is just this ability to have control of something. And so I was like, all right, well, I can 3 of these days, I can do, zone 2 training after work, very low intensity. And I can still get to bed after that, where I wouldn't want to do like a stressful workout and then try to go to bed. Like, that's silly.
That's such a smart way to do it too, because I think that so many people, when they start 75 hard, they don't do it smart.
Yeah. They just want to come out the gate and
they want to crush it, and then they're crushed, and then they go through the 75 days, and then day 76 is like, okay, let me eat everything and I'm never gonna work out again. That's not really how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So my evenings are either stretching paired with some low activity bike work, which is, just get some more movement in. And then I do have a little routine after that to kind of wind me down so I can sleep. Let my stress, I use my Whoop to kind of manage my stress a little bit. And then in the morning, I just wake up, no matter, if it's a work day, I just go out for my ruck first thing on work days. So that kind of looks like, so those are my 2 workouts on a work day, right? I'm not putting anything, super high intensity or that I have to figure out. It's just very, easy to manage. And then on my days off, so when I'll do my resistance training and other activities, and it's going to be 4 weeks tomorrow. Tomorrow's my 4th week in. And I'll be honest, like 2 days ago, I wanted to give up. So it's not
pretty normal.
Yeah. And I've never felt that before. I've done it. It's my 3rd, 4th time. And the other times I was pretty on like this high with it. So this is new to me, of this like feeling of like the pull that people have talked to me about. And I'm experiencing it from a different angle again, but pushing past that and just, showing up the next day and continuing. So, but that's why I started. It's more or less creating a little bit more of a standard for myself.
I love that. Now, I think 75 hard is a touchy topic for a lot of people, especially as of late. Because like I did 75 hard for the first time in 2020 after I was furloughed, and I was like, you know what? I'm a fucking save my life, because I was in a really fucking dark spot, and it saved my life. It really did. Like, I wouldn't have a podcast. I wouldn't be on social media. I probably wouldn't know any of you unless I did 75 hard. Now, what I find now is that I will probably never do 75 hard again, just for the fact is there was a moment, and Sam was there. We were in Florida for the retreat, and I was doing 75 hard. That was the last time I did 75 hard. I was on day like 74. And she was like, oh, I'll go on your outdoor walk with you. So we went on an outdoor walk, and we had like 2 minutes left, and we were late for a meeting. And we didn't realize that it was that time. And I was like, I have to fucking finish. There's 2 minutes. And it's like, are those 2 minutes actually going to fucking matter? And that's
we were pacing in front of the hotel. And I was like, I'm going to fucking strangle you, Caitlin. We are late.
We made it to 45 minutes. And it was that moment where I was like, is this actually helping me? And at that point, it wasn't. It was just me taking my old addiction personality that I had when I had an eating disorder and throwing it into something else. And I had a conversation with Eric regarding like my relationship with food. And one of the things he said is like, hey, like your relationship with food is still an addiction, because maybe you're not starving yourself, but you're controlling the food that you're eating so much that it's an addiction, and addiction is an addiction. It's similar to if somebody does 75 hard to beat an alcohol addiction, but then they become addicted to 75 hard. So I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on this, because like if a client starts 75 hard, like I'm going to support them. But at the end of the day, it's like, are we doing it for the right reasons? Or are we just using it as a crutch? Which is where I find a lot of people land.
I agree. There's so many people. Luckily for me, I didn't get into it like that. Like, I will say it definitely helped me in 2020 also, because I was like 6 months postpartum, or no, 2019. I was like 6 months postpartum, and then COVID, or yeah, it was like the start of COVID or something.
Whatever that was.
Anyway, no, that was the second time I did it. The first time I did it, I was like 6 months postpartum. I don't know. My life is just meshed together.
These last 4 years, bro, I don't even know where they went.
I know. But yeah, it definitely like helped me just like get my shit together. Like, and the results are amazing. But to your point, I think there's so many people in like first form Legionnaires that relied on it, and they would do it like when their clients were doing it, and they, like, so they were just like continuously doing it. And I think it becomes a problem when people rely on the program. Like, you can't function without doing the program.
Yep.
Like, or like you don't, like you said, like you stop working out when you're not doing 75 hard, and then you just eat like complete shit when you're not doing 75 hard. Well, then did you really get out of it what you were supposed to get out of it? So
I think most
totally
people
agree.
do it the wrong way is really what it comes down to, is they do it so unsustainably that like it can be a sustainable approach. Like the way Dara's doing it is very sustainable over time, right?
It makes me want to do it, Dara.
Dara's influenced Brooke. But I think that everybody should do it at some point. I think that it's very valuable to see what it's like to push yourself like that. It's similar to like a bodybuilding prep, where it's like if you do a bodybuilding prep, you learn discipline. Like you're forced to learn discipline, but it's a less extreme version of a bodybuilding prep. I would argue a healthier version of a bodybuilding prep.
Absolutely.
Well, too, and then you get into like the hardcore people that say like you can't walk for your second workout, or you can't do anything easy for your second workout.
Right.
I'm like, well, okay, well, first of all, like you should be walking on a regular basis anyways.
Yes. There's
like
so
that's a standard.
Yes.
But again, like if you're doing 2 workouts, right? Like, but if you're doing 2 workouts a day for 75 days, why wouldn't you take a little bit of recovery? Because your body is going through so much stress, especially if you're like just jumping into it. Like so many fucking people do. Like, oh, well, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do 75 hard right off the bat. Okay, your body is going to be thrashed.
Yeah.
And if you are not adding in that active recovery, if you're doing 2 full workouts a day, you're not going to make it. It goes back to like sustainability. Like that's not how it works.
I think that
probably a lot of, I was going to say, probably a lot of people also are putting themselves in really big deficits with their food being very restrictive, which causes more stress, and then they're just pounding their body. So
right. Well, again, like you can do it smart. Like if you're going to do 75 hard and do the 2 workouts and really put your all into it, make sure that your nutrition is up to par.
Correct.
So you have to be eating more food so that you can recover and continue to move forward.
I think that most people have a skewed relationship towards fitness and exercise and nutrition, where they don't think that they need to recover, in a sense where they think the more that they put in, the better they're going to get out, when that's not necessarily the case with fitness. There's like a bell curve to your results. So like you can push as hard as you fucking want, but eventually you're going to get to this top point and you're going to start going in the opposite direction because you are putting your body under so much stress. And I've seen that. I'm sure you guys have seen that as coaches, where it's like, hey, like we're not losing weight. Maybe we should just back off of training. We'll do a little bit less. We'll move a little bit more. We'll feed you a little bit more. And they lose weight like immediately.
Yeah.
I think one other thing with 75 hard, like not obviously like people going crazy with like the 2 workouts a day, thinking they have to be high intensity 2 workouts a day. But what I have really stressed to my clients that do it, and they're doing it for the right reasons, not just to lose weight, is like make sure you're still taking 1 to 2 days a week where they are more active recovery workouts. Right. Now, Andy might not agree with me on that, but it's like, where it is like maybe we're walking twice a day, like our workouts we're just walking or rucking, kind of thing. Yeah. So because I know so many people that they did it, like they started 2 weeks, in, and they were doing like 2 workouts a day that were high intensity, 7 days a week. And then they're like, now I'm trashed. And like, now I can't move.
Yep.
So,
I've had somebody who actually said to me, like, I don't like CrossFit. Can I still do 75 hard? Thinking that they had to do like CrossFit style workouts to do 75 hard. And I'm like, the point that I need to reiterate to everybody out there, because if people don't know what 75 hard is, you've seen it on the internet and you're like, oh, it's just another fitness challenge. Holy shit. It's not a fitness challenge. It is a mindset, mental toughness program. So for those of you who are doing it because it's like, oh, I just want to lose weight really fast in 75 days, don't do it.
Yeah.
Not the right reason. Now, if you want to fix your mindset, get your shit together, you should probably do it.
That's what I'm doing.
Do it once or do it to reset, almost use it as like a reset button occasionally, but don't use it to be the only thing that keeps you on the right track.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to talk about rucking because I know all of us have rucked at some point. And Dara, I've noticed that you are vesting now, not rucking.
Yes.
Is that because of your back?
Yes.
I am also vesting and not rucking because throughout my entire back injury, since I did whatever the fuck I did to it in at the beginning of July, I didn't stop rucking because I'm stupid. Just so that you guys know, I'm very stubborn. If you didn't already know that. So I didn't stop rucking, and like even on days where like my back was like I can't even walk, I'd be like, well, I gotta go on my walk. I'll throw my ruck on and like be like stopping halfway through and like bending over to like stretch it out. And then one day I realized, maybe if I stopped rucking, it would make it feel better, and it definitely helped.
Yeah. There was actually a period where I didn't put any weight on and it would still hurt walking with my back injury to the point when I put my ruck or my vest on for the first time. I was like, holy shit, this is heavy.
Yeah.
Because you haven't used it for a while. And then,
Yeah.
now it's pretty light. But yeah, I definitely switched from rucking to, to where the weight is a little bit more evenly distributed to my body, and it just helps not have that pull.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now
for
I know
sure.
like with rucking that where my injury came from, and like I know like all of us have had injuries or setbacks and stuff where you look back and you're like, what could have caused this? Like what was the lead up looking like? And
Oh
for me,
yeah.
one of the biggest things was like I started to get because hey, remember, I have a very addictive personality. So like I would do rucks on Thursdays, my active recovery day. And I got to the point where it was like, okay, I have 40 pounds in my ruck. And then one week it was like, why don't I throw another 10 in there? And I was doing like 50, 55-pound rucks for 45 minutes. And then like the next week is when I hurt my back. And I'm like, I wonder if that, because I remember being in so much pain one day from just being sore from that ruck that I realized that maybe not a good idea. And then when I told my husband, who's in the military, he's like, we don't even ruck with that much unless it's like selection. And I'm like, oh, oops, I'm stupid because I'm 120 pounds and I shouldn't be rucking with like half my body weight.
Body weight.
Oopsies. Again, one of those scenarios, but with my back injury, it was getting better and then it was getting worse, and I'd have a flare up. And then like 7 weeks ago, I was doing GHD sit-ups and it was like pop. Oh fuck. And I think I herniated a disc, almost like 100% sure it's a disc at this point, but we're working through it. And again, I have highs and lows, and I'm sure Dara, you can relate, and Brooke, you can relate, and Sam, you can relate too. That like when you're recovering or when you have something going on, like there are some days where you're like, I'm awesome. This is great. It's done. And then the next day you're like, what happened?
I
What did I do? Like,
shoveled snow.
yeah, like
Oh.
on Monday, my training session was stupid. I combined total, I think I tallied it up to like 260 different variations of squats between thrusters and back squats and front squats. And Tuesday, I woke up and my hip was like, what the fuck did you do to me?
Mm.
And it's like one of those things where now I'm like talking with my PT and I'm like, maybe I should stop doing heavy squats. And then listening to Dara makes me think maybe I should have stopped doing heavy squats like a really long time ago. But here we are. And I
We
think we
all
all
have
have to
to
go
learn
through
our
it.
own way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
So now, as far the last thing I really wanted to touch on is because I think that this is a really interesting and cool topic, and I don't want to get political with it. So please, dear Lord, let's try not to keep this political because we don't want to get demonetized. But um, RFK was recently appointed last night, confirmed to become the head of the Department of Health. What are y'all's thoughts on this? I mean, let's just
let's
go.
go, Bobby.
Let's go, Bobby. Let's get the oils out of here.
Well, if anyone watches my stories, y'all know how I feel, but
This is why I love Brooke so much.
no, I'm excited. And I think it's weird if you're not excited that we're trying to get rid of dyes and artificial, like everything in our food. Like, why
Yeah.
would we not want better ingredients in our food? I've seen tons of fitness influencers saying, like, like that's not a good reason because they don't like him. So
Yes.
I'm like, that's just strange to me. Why would we not want that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fitness influencers, they'll like stitch into a reel and they're like, but there's nothing to fear with these foods. And I'm like, but like, there's so much research behind how food dyes can cause really bad issues with children, especially like ADHD and like
the red 40.
attention issues.
I've tested it with Gianna.
I ate a Sour Patch Kid last week and I was like, God damn it, it has red 40 in it. So now we have Welch's fruit snacks on deck. But it's one of those things where you immediately do notice like the difference. Like I've spoken to parents who are like, I accidentally gave my child Tylenol, but I gave them the not dye-free Tylenol, and they were like completely like unable to put down for their naps, et cetera, and so forth, compared to like when they wouldn't have the dye. So I think like things like that, it's so beneficial. Seed oils, there's no fucking reason why we should be using seed oils in food. It's a cheaper alternative, so companies do it. But there's so many other things that we can, avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever, that are more beneficial for our health. So like, why wouldn't we be okay with this? Whether you're on the conservative side or the liberal side, like,
right.
Why can't we just be healthy? Like, if you can still have your fucking Fruit Loops, they're just not going to have red 40 in it. Relax.
Yeah. I know.
I
And
don't even
like
notice the difference. They might not be as colorful, but that's really it.
Just like moderation with everything anyway, you know, like alcohol, everything in moderation.
Well, the funny thing is that the same people who are, this is the thing, like I get off on people on social media, is like the same people who are like, oh, you should cold plunge, or oh, you shouldn't eat any of these ingredients, then they're going home and binge drinking at night. And I'm like, well, you put poison in your body every day, so why are you yelling at me because I'm eating a Sour Patch Kid, you know? Yeah. It's moderation.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Sam, what do you think about this, Sam? Are you all about making America healthy again?
Yeah, and I from what I've seen, like people are really pressed about it.
Mm-hmm.
But those are also the people that are like saying like things should be healthier, and like always commenting like, you know, we need to make America healthy and this, that, and the other, you know, and we need to eat healthier foods. But then when it comes down to it, they're like, well, why are we focusing on those things? I'm like, because those are the things that are important.
Yeah, that's really like what it comes down to.
Like, we cannot make everybody just eat eggs and steak all the time. However, like if you want to be healthier, like let's start somewhere. Like all of these people are having all of these bad things. Like, why not start there?
Correct. I think that's the best.
Like baby steps.
Because the reality is, if we just like took all of the processed food off the shelves, people would be pissed. People wouldn't. There would be a lot of back talk on that, and it's not, because at the end of the day, like these foods are fine in moderation, right? The only issue is that nobody knows how to use moderation when it comes to these foods.
Right. Well, and like everything else, like there's a process that you have to go to. Like we can't go from 0 to 100. Like again, like all of us being coaches, we understand like clients come in and they're gung ho and they're excited, and you're like, and they want to do 75 hard, and that's great. If you go from 0 to 100 that fast, you're going to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to be healthy, and like everybody, I would say almost everyone in the United States, like no absolutes, but almost everybody wants to just be healthier and eat healthier and focus on health like we're fucking supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can't, again, like just take everything away all at once. So what can we do to take one step forward?
I think it's such a great step too. Like if we can also like do something about the fact that raw milk is not for human consumption and peptides are not for human consumption. That's bullshit. Yeah. You tell me that I inject myself with not for human consumption every damn day then. Anybody take peptides?
I was before I got pregnant. I was doing the
BPC 157, right?
I did it for a month and then I got pregnant.
Caitlin, are you getting that?
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing BPC 157 and TB 500 every day. I'm about to up my dose, but like when I first started it, I was like, holy freaking shit. Like a week in, it felt great. So now I think I just need to up my dose a little bit to see if it can continue to like knock it out, because I don't want to be on it for more than 8 weeks, because if you're on high doses of BPC 157 for a long period of time, it could cause like overgrowth, which obviously cancer, don't want that. But I'm also taking, and I've been taking Sermorelin for, I think I'm on my 3rd or 4th month of it, it helps with the production of growth hormone. And when I got my hormones tested, my testosterone and my estrogen were like stupid low, and my cortisol was like stupid high. Big shocker. And it's been life-changing. Like when I tell you guys, like a week into taking it, I woke up one day and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I slept. Or, oh my gosh, I can have this much focus throughout the day and not have brain fog. It was unbelievable. So like, I think being able to regulate these things will be life-changing for a lot of people, because I know that BPC 157, I have only heard incredible things about. Like, how
Yeah.
long were you on it, Brooke? Were you on it long enough to like feel a difference or not really?
Only a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't notice too much yet on it, but I also think I wasn't able to always inject it in directly into my shoulder because it's my right shoulder.
Yeah, that would be
So
an
I
awkward injection.
Yeah, so I think if I was able to inject it more where the actual injury was, I would have noticed a difference faster.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
did notice like a little bit of a difference. But yeah, obviously I had to stop taking it. So
I definitely notice a systematic difference, like with gut health and with I had like a shoulder kind of nagging pain that's completely gone.
that's
But
awesome.
I have to inject it in such an awkward way because I'm trying to get it as close as possible to like my left side of my back. So I'm like twisting and contorting myself to actually do it. It's a
Yeah.
fun experience. I can't wait for my mom to come for Thanksgiving and see all of my injections. Hey mom, ignore all the needles that are in the cabinet. It's just for my steroid use. Not steroid.
You're like, and by the way, can you do this one for me today?
Yeah. Actually, this would be really helpful if you could do this. I'm shocked that Stone hasn't volunteered as tribute. Like, it's near my butt. You don't want to inject it?
Right.
Come on now.
Oh, no, just kidding.
Yeah. So, with everything, like, is there anything that you guys wanted to bring up before we end it for today? Or do you feel like we've had a really good conversation? I love this, and I think we definitely need to do it multiple times again.
I know this was fun. It's so good to see you guys
I
in
know.
person.
We don't see each other enough. I mean, we're all in different areas. Like I'm in Florida,
Yeah.
Dara's in Colorado, Brooke's in Ohio, Sam is in Wyoming. That is a cold place. So is Ohio, so is Colorado. I'm here in Florida. It was a little nippy today. I woke up and I had to wear a hoodie. It was like 60 degrees.
60
I'm in
degrees.
Southern Ohio now, so it's not as bad.
Okay, okay. Have you seen snow yet? Sam, I know Dara saw like stupid snow last week.
Sam saw
Yeah, that
snow.
was crazy.
Yeah, we did not get that storm. We got, I don't know, it's like 2 or 3 inches, and it's melted by now because it's been like in the 40s.
Oh, so warm.
It is, yeah. But yeah, it was just like enough to like make ice on the road, and that was it. Like it's supposed to snow again, I think maybe tomorrow. But I was really surprised. Like we have not gotten really anything yet. It's coming. Yeah. I know that it's coming.
That's usually when you know it's
now,
going to be a terrible winter is when it doesn't start for a while. I always remember looking at Sam's story like from last year and being like, oh, I'm so sad for her. It snows all the time.
Yeah, last year was so awful. It was like every time it snowed, it was 3 feet. It was like 3 feet and 3 feet and 3 feet. And then it would melt enough to like get ice. So we'd have like a foot of ice, and then it would snow again. And it was just.
I have a client who's in Alaska, and she recently went on a trip right before daylight savings, right? So like Alaska goes from sunny to dark all the time really fast. And so she went on a trip. She went to the When We Are Young festival in Las Vegas, and then she went on a family trip in Tennessee. When she came back to Alaska, it was covered in ice, snowy, and daylight savings dark. And I was like, that's so depressing. Why?
Yeah. Daylight saving this year has been pretty terrible. I think just because I'm working at a place that doesn't close till 8. So like it gets dark outside and I'm like, oh, it's almost time to be done. I'm like, I still have 3 more hours.
Yeah.
It gets dark at 5 and I'm like, are we ready for bed? Can I lay down?
It's a mind fuck, and it takes me so long to adapt to it, especially because I train in my garage from like I usually start around 3 and I go to like 5:30 ish, and it's like now wait, am I really behind? No, I'm not. It's just dark, and now at least I have like these neon lights, but like man, it is a fucking show. Love it. But I love this. I'll let you guys get back to your lives because I know we all have shit to do. Happy Friday. But, if you guys liked this content, please let us know because I think we're definitely going to be able to do this again and again because this is fun. Maybe once a month, maybe. But yeah, go out and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.